Hi, I'm Alan Wenzel, Freepod host, welcoming you to this extended interview. And today I'm pleased to be speaking with a couple of representatives of the Northern Illinois Food Bank. It's been a big day for the Northern Illinois Food Bank here in Freeport because they just received today checks and cash amounting to over $12,000 that will go toward their services for the Northern Illinois region. And I'm very pleased to welcome to this extended interview today Hester Bury, who is the Development Officer for the Northern Illinois Food Bank, which is based in Geneva, Illinois, and Yvette Sellers, who is the Agency Relations Area Manager. Ladies, welcome to this extended interview.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thank you. We're happy to be here.
I'm just going to begin with a couple of general questions. What is the Northern Illinois Food Bank? What do they do? What's their purpose? What is it all about?
So Northern Illinois Food Bank, it's one of 200 food banks across the country, a member of Feeding America. And we acquire food from manufacturers, distributors, and retailers. And we distribute that to our member food pantries and soup kitchens across 13 counties, including Stephenson County.
And I was going to ask you, Yvette, you're responsible for Stephenson County, but you serve 13 counties. Is the range all across Northern Illinois, or what is your service area?
It's divided into regions.
Oh, regions, okay.
So I cover the Northwest region.
Okay.
So I have 5 of the counties of the 13 counties.
Okay.
And so we also have a North region. I should tell you that the Northwest region is comprised of Winnebago, Boone, Ogle, Stephenson, and DeKalb counties. And then we have our North region, which is Lake and McHenry counties. We have our Central region, which is Kane and DuPage. And then we have our Southern region, which is Will, Kendall, Grundy, and Kankakee counties.
So you have a pretty wide geographic area that you're covering.
We do, 7,000 square miles. And across that area, we have about 350 food pantries and soup kitchens that we support.
And do you support these 350 food pantries and kitchens on a daily basis, a weekly basis? How?
Our trucks are on the road. Our transportation team is on the road every day, with the exception of Saturdays and Sundays. They start very early in the morning to late afternoon. We also have part of our transportation team, our mobile markets that go out as well. And so they're in our communities providing food pantry services, if you will, in a mobile capacity. So we have a specific area that we're going to be, and neighbors in the community can come and receive food that way as well. Now, according to your fact sheet, you service like 570,000 people every month, and 90 million people over the course of a year. That's a lot of people in a 13-county area.
So 570,000 people every month are visiting one of our food pantries or benefiting from one of our programs. So that could be our child nutrition program, our mobile markets, or our online food pantry. Yes, and in last year, we distributed 93 million meals.
And we're talking food of all type here, non-perishable goods, but also some fresh produce also. Is that correct?
We have fresh produce available for our member agencies. We have frozen meats available. We have shelf-stable canned good items as well. We try and make sure that member agencies have what they need to, like if a neighbor's shopping at a grocery store, we want them to have that same experience going to a food pantry. And we want our community meal sites, also known as soup kitchens, to be able to provide them with a well-balanced, nutritious meal as well.
So, well-balanced and nutritious, and you probably want to have a wide variety of some options for people when they go to a pantry or a place to collect some food. You don't want just a few things. You want a pretty wide array of options for folks.
Most of our pantries now are choice pantries. So that means that neighbors can go in, grab a shopping cart, and walk around and choose the food they need.
Oh, wow.
So it provides a more dignified experience than, during the pandemic, we had to pack boxes and give people boxes through a drive-through distribution, but we've managed to bring most of our pantries back to what we call a choice pantry so that people can just choose the things they need.
Now, you also serve schools and daycare centers. Can you talk a little bit about what that service to those entities looks like?
So with our daycares, what we're doing is they also have the opportunity to get the food that they need to support our littlest population.
Yeah.
So the same process that food pantries have with selecting the items that they need, so do our daycares as well. And then when it comes to our schools, we have our backpack program, which allows students to actually take shelf-stable items home, and so that they and their siblings and other family members can enjoy and have a meal while they're home for the weekend. Because we know that when it comes to children and meals, sometimes the only meal that they get is when they're at school. So we want to be able to support them when they go home for the weekend as well.
Wow.
And then I can also add, we do after-school meals, so cold suppers and snacks at after-school activity sites like Boys and Girls Club, and at schools that provide after-school programming. And then during the summer, we are at parks and day camps and provide breakfasts and lunches.
So you're really year-round, every
absolutely.
month of the year. There are no off months. You're busy every month of the year.
Exactly. People need to eat every month of the year, every day of the year. So we're there to help provide those meals.
We hear and read in the news about something called food deserts. Do we qualify as a food desert, or some of our areas where we just don't have food available that we'd like to have for folks?
There are certainly areas across our 13 counties where people may not have access to a grocery store, especially some of the rural areas, and they may therefore be depending on convenience stores for their food, which can be both expensive
and not very nutritious.
And not very nutritious. Yes, that's often where we bring our mobile markets. So that we'd bring that to a school or a community center, and people can shop from the mobile market.
How long has Northern Illinois Food Bank been in existence?
Since 1983.
Wow. And so for almost 40 years, over 40 years, you've been providing food for a lot of people in a pretty wide area, 7,000 square miles. And it's growing. Let's talk a little bit about that. What do you see as trends when it comes to food needs in your area of service?
So I can tell you that since 2020, partly due to the pandemic and then the resulting inflation that came after that, we are serving double the number of people now than we were in 2020.
Just in 6 years?
Yeah.
Wow, double.
Part of that, like I said, was pandemic and then inflation and rising food prices and rising housing costs. People who are maybe living paycheck to paycheck will always hopefully pay their rent or their mortgage first and then their utilities. And sometimes that just doesn't leave enough for food.
Are there any particular, across the 13 counties, I'm sure you see ebb and flow in terms of demand or need go up and down. Are there any areas of the 13 counties that are in most critical need right now? The southern region, northern, or can you identify that?
I would say our most needy areas are our rural areas.
Rural areas, just
where
rural
there
areas.
aren't as many resources.
Right.
There aren't as many food pantries, and those food pantries maybe don't have access to as many financial or volunteer resources as some of our more populated the collar counties like Lake and DuPage that really have more resources. But the need is everywhere, across every community.
I want to talk a little bit about how you gain support from the public. How How do folks help you be in existence and do what you do? And what can they do to help you even more?
So we couldn't do what we do without our donors, both food donors, which tend to be food manufacturers, distributors, and food retailers. We pick up at about 450 retail stores. The donations that they make are usually food that they can no longer sell. That accounts for about half of our food donations. But we also couldn't do it without our financial donors. And many of those are individuals across our 13 counties that give anything from $10 to $1,000 to $10,000. That funding is critical for us to keep our operations going, to keep our trucks on the road, and to buy food to supplement those donations.
From your fact sheet, it says that you purchase about a quarter of your food. You go out and purchase it. You just have to buy it. So you need cash to do that, obviously.
Yes.
And that's important.
Yes. Right now for the last few years, we have been purchasing fresh produce, and because that is the most requested item by our neighbors.
Oh, is it really?
So
all kinds of fresh produce,
yes,
from green leafy vegetables to tomatoes.
Yes, we
potatoes.
tend to purchase what's called the hard 7, which are things that will have a longer shelf life. So that's potatoes, apples, onions.
Okay.
Those are the 3 big things that we purchase. And then, obviously corn, melons, things like that.
And of course, some of that is seasonal. What do you do in the off season when middle of winter and you don't have as much fresh produce? You have to go further away to buy that and bring it here, I assume.
We do, yes. So as a member of Feeding America, we have access to produce that is donated to the network. But we have to, even if it's donated, we have to pay to bring it in. So we might be trucking it in from California or Florida to make sure we have that fresh produce year round.
So this $12,000 that you just received from 100 Women Who Care of Stevenson County will go a long way toward helping you do those kinds of things that we may not even see. It's kind of background. We got to get the trucks to bring in the produce. We've got to buy our food and get it here and to get it distributed.
Well, a couple of things I want to mention about the produce is the fact that we don't charge anything for fresh produce for our member agencies.
Oh, you don't?
No, there's no fees assessed for the produce. And then also with the wonderful support we've gotten from 100 Women Who Care in Stevenson County, that $12,000 plus, that's going to go towards a Take 50. So our member agencies will be able to purchase product at 50%.
Oh, wow.
So they won't have to pay that whole 100% at 50%. So the idea behind that is that their dollars will go further and they'll be able to hopefully feed more neighbors because of this grant.
So you're really able to leverage that money in all kinds of ways to provide advantages for you and also for the recipients of your food.
Yeah. And so for every $1 that we bring into the food bank, we can provide $8 worth of groceries.
Wow.
So we encourage people to donate $1 if they can, rather than go to the grocery store and purchase food to donate to a food pantry.
Right.
Even our food pantries can stretch those dollars further.
So what's the best way for someone to do that? How do I get cash to you folks? If I want to make a contribution to the Northern Illinois Food Bank, how do I do that?
You can go online. If you're comfortable donating online, you can go to our website, solvehungertoday.org.
Solvehungertoday.org. Okay.
And donate through the website. We also will take checks mailed to our office in Geneva. We also encourage people to think about, donating from their retirement account. So if you're old enough to have an IRA that is a required minimum distribution, you can donate that to a nonprofit without incurring any tax.
And if I want to just help you out in some volunteer hours, is there a way for me to do that also?
Yes, absolutely. You can either go to a local food pantry, and all our food pantries use volunteers. Some of them only use volunteers. They're totally volunteer driven. Or you can go to our center in Rockford, our neighborhood market in Rockford, where we use volunteers to sort and pack food. But we also have a food pantry there, neighborhood market. And we use volunteers there 4 days a week to help serve the neighbors. So that pantry is serving about 800 families a week.
Wow.
Out of that pantry. So we definitely need volunteers there. And again, if you go to our website, you can see the times that we need people and sign up online.
And once again, that website is Solve Hunger, SOLVE, hungertoday.org.
That's correct.
And that's the Northern Illinois Food Bank website. So if I get on there, I can contribute money, I can find a place to volunteer, I can give some hours, and I can help you do an even better job than you're doing.
The other thing I would encourage people to do is talk about what they learn about the food bank. Encourage people, if they are struggling, to use a food pantry, go to a food pantry, go online and see where there's a mobile market. Out of Rockford, we also have an online food pantry. If people don't have time to go to a food pantry, they can order their groceries online and pick them up at our Rockford Center.
I think what's amazing and what I've learned just in a little bit I've been with you today is that you are supplying all kinds of places of food, schools, elementary schools, junior high, high schools, food pantries, soup kitchens. You're kind of the force behind the force. You're back there providing the food that people need to be able to provide help to folks. And that's your job as a Northern Illinois Food Bank. Right.
And we want to make the food accessible to people where they are and when they need it. We want to come to them so that they don't have to go out of their way to get food. Mm-hmm. We hope that, people are not embarrassed to admit that they need help. Some of us need, all of us need help at some time. So, please encourage people to use the services in their community.
I've been talking today with Hester Bury, the Development Officer for Northern Illinois Food Bank, and Yvette Sellers, who is the Agency Relations Area Manager. Ladies, it's been wonderful hearing about your work, and thank you so much for all that you do. I'm wondering if you have a final word for our listeners, something you'd like to leave with them about what you do, or maybe something that's very rewarding about the job that you've experienced, Hester and Yvette both? I
would just say that everybody has to eat every day, and we are helping people get the food they need when they can't afford it at the grocery store.
That's well said.
And I just want to make everyone aware that last year in Stevenson County, over 700,000 meals were distributed, and 68,000 of these meals came from our mobile markets. 57,000 came from our child nutrition programs, but the bulk of them 600,000 came from our food pantries and soup kitchens. So I think it's important to commend those that are all of our agencies in Stevenson County for the work that they're doing, because without them, we couldn't do what we're doing. And it's so important that we continue to provide them with the support they need, whether it's funding for like a Take 50 grant, whether it's volunteer support or getting a mobile or backpack program into the communities that's needed. So I just think it's important that everybody knows that.
And I think that's a great point, Yvette, that we can help out by volunteering for the places that use your food, whether it's a soup kitchen or offering to help stuff backpacks, or whether it's to get meals ready for a weekend for seniors or for young people, families. Those are important activities that we can do that help you, in a sense, get the best use out of the food that you provide.
So our volunteers last year provided 130,000 hours of volunteer service, which is equivalent to about 60 full-time staff.
Wow.
So our volunteers are extremely valuable.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without volunteers. Our pantries, soup kitchens, majority of them here in Stevenson County are operated by volunteers. The pantry manager is typically a volunteer, not a paid staff person. So the work that we are doing here within the food bank within Stevenson County couldn't be done without that volunteer support.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that is so important. Just give your time. The equivalent of 60 full-time staff across the whole district. But here in Stevenson County, we would not be able to serve 600,000 meals, and we couldn't do it if we didn't have people helping us with that. So I'm glad that you gave a shout out to those volunteers who do that, and always welcome for more. And so if you're thinking about a way to spend some time this fall or this winter and get involved in something, go to solvehungertoday.org and figure out where you might be able to volunteer at one of the many agencies and entities that this food bank supports. Any one of the network members would love to have you as a volunteer. That's for sure. Hester and Yvette, thank you so much for a wonderful time with you, and good luck with all that you do. And we're so glad that you do what you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you for having us.